Well, hello and thank you for joining me for another IT Wire and Alex on Tech video. Today I have with me on my left, Fred de Haro, who's the CEO of Pycom. In the middle, we have Bettina Rubek Slater, the COO. And on my right, Daniel Campora, CTO of Pycom. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start at the beginning. What is Pycom? What does it do? And what drove you to start the company?
Do you want to take that one?
Okay. Well, Pycom is about setting the most integrated IoT platform. Today you have a lot of modular stuff going on in IoT.
Yeah.
So people making hardware, people making platforms, people making embedded development. What Pycom tries to do is put all of that together in one solution for any customer, irrespective of sizes. And that's what we did since January of last year.
And what was the thing that sparked you to think, man, there's no company like Pycom. We need to be the ones that create it.
Sure.
Seeing customers struggle to get to market with products, it would take them 24 months to start with a different platform, go back to scratch after a pilot or initial trial, to then do the real thing. And we thought there's a quicker and much better way of doing this. And so that's how we got this.
One of the things that we do to take complexity out of the design is to put MicroPython on our modules so that people can concentrate in the problem they're trying to solve. They have a high-level language which they can use to code, and they use our hardware API. They don't have to worry about how complex and all the features in the hardware are. They just go and code.
So when you put all of that together, you get the embedded development, which is rapid prototyping development and that scale to manufacturing. You get the middleware platform to support you, and then you start seeing and managing your estate, which is important for IoT customers.
So can we go into some more detail on, I've read about the range of platforms and all the acronyms, and tell us about what it is you're supporting, the products and services, and what are the big ones that you're really going to be focusing on for the rest of the year and 2018 to come?
So I guess we started with the multi-network aspect of IoT and giving customers real flexibility around network choice. And we started with LoRa and Sigfox, always having Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on the boards. Around this time, now we're in November, we're launching a cellular range, so catering for LTE-M, so NB-IoT and Cat1.
Yep.
And we think that next year will really be the year that takes off. All the network operators are rolling out, and it's very exciting for IoT to have that type of rollout.
It's about giving choice to developers. What we didn't want developers to have to do is to make the decision as to which network they wanted or had to use on day one. And so everything around Pycom is about future-proofing that development and the connectivity. So it doesn't matter if you want to use LoRa in Europe and Cat1 in the US. With Pycom, you have the same footprint. So everything is interchangeable, swappable, and so we're taking that headache away for customers.
So this technology agnosticism that lets you use whatever you want. I mean, what else besides that is what makes your platform stand out amongst the 450 different middleware platforms out there?
So, as much disruption as we're doing at hardware level, we're going to do the same thing at middleware, because we believe in making IoT a zero-sum business case, which means taking cost out of the solution. And so with the Pycon middleware platform, PyBytes, which we're launching now a few weeks, it's a payment method of pay as you grow. So a lot of
pay as you grow.
Pay as you grow, absolutely. So a lot of services are free for those low volumes.
The vast majority.
And the vast majority, absolutely. So because when you look at middleware platforms, we split that into two sides. We have data management, which is completely free, and then the device management, which is keeping your device healthy with firmware updates, enhanced security protocols, and other services around geolocation. Those services will be on a pay-as-you-grow model.
And then we'll add network services to that in the second release of the platform. But one of the things I think is special about the Pycom hardware is the software, or the embedded software that sits on there, where Daniel and his team have spent a lot of time developing a stack that is common for all the networks, so that you can swap and change and literally just port the code.
Sure.
So it's common hardware footprint and software footprint.
So we have
right?
this socket abstraction layer that lets you just configure the network, and no matter if it's LoRa, Sigfox, Wi-Fi or LTE, from that point on, you just open sockets, send and transmit. So it makes code portable in 99% of the cases between modules.
Is this a software-defined network? They talk about SDNs.
It's not exactly that. It's just a layer that we build on top of these network technologies, so that the API from the coding point of view is the same. So you only write the code once, and then you can use LoRa, Sigfox, cellular Wi-Fi in the same way.
Write once, run anywhere.
Exactly.
Except this time you mean it, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
As
exactly.
opposed, I mean, Java still works to this day, but yeah.
Yeah.
And on security, I mean, I don't know, I presume that's the right question to ask you, Daniel, but anybody can jump in. I mean, I've written articles about the internet of hackable, crackable things, and security is this huge thing that, many still think we haven't really quite nailed down when it comes to IoT and everything else. So this must be a core tenet of what you're doing. You did mention it Fred, before.
Yeah, we do take security very seriously. So our hardware, it's very low power, but also has a lot of processing power when you need it. So we have hash encryption engines in the modules. We have AES-256. We support TLS up to 1.2. We have as a client and server side authentication with certificates. So we are up to the highest levels of security at the
And
moment.
of course, we'll look at blockchain for light IoT applications.
And what about, I mean, I've just come back from a conference in Vegas with CA Technologies, and they're not the only ones to have mentioned it, but, Apple and Huawei, everyone's talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning. You guys must have, fingers and toes in those in that pie too.
Yeah.
But that will sit on PyBytes, right? The
Yeah.
middleware platform primarily.
So it's a combination of all of the above, because
Has to be,
if you look at the devices themselves, they're sitting on the edge of a network, and so they have to be autonomous. They have to live long lives. So we call it about deploy and forget models. And when Bettina talks about blockchain, what's key is actually making blockchain relevant and feasible for IoT, because for IoT devices, you've got very small memory allocations possible for it. Versus the traditional business models of Bitcoin, that is where you've seen pioneering.
But we see it with backups. We see it's the big buzzword everywhere now. People are trying to make it work for their industry.
Yeah. So the cool thing with Pycon modules is you can do a lot of mesh networking between devices, and that means sharing data and information between different types of modules of Pycon. So in the case of security, when you have firmware updates, you want to be able to validate which devices are genuine, etc. And so this is the development that Pycom is doing, and where we expect to be able to make releases in the first quarter of next year.
And I'm guessing that all those devices that you set and forget or deploy and forget, you can still reach out to them over the network and update firmware and update various things to keep them at the cutting edge of security.
And that's even more important when you look at today's LP1 technologies. Some of the LP1 technologies are fantastic for day-to-day telemetry data, but doing firmware updates of 1 megabyte is a no-go, and hence why this IoT footprint that we've set with our modules, which enables you to use different types of wireless connectivity for doing these add-on or ad hoc types of updates.
And
It's really about best route and best network for doing the various activities.
Yeah.
And a question that's just popped into my brain is, what's the expected lifespan of these devices? Obviously you want set and forget in many years, but there must be some sort of lifespan.
Anywhere between 10 and 20 years. And when we're talking about battery life, because many of the devices in the field are battery powered, so we can go down to 5 microamps of current consumption. That will give you 20 years of battery life if your application needs it.
And if the battery supports it.
Yeah. Some days are nice. I mean, I use these little Netgear Arlo cameras, and just in my email popped in a notification, hey, we've got a little solar panel module that can sit there. Now, some of these devices will be underground or, in cupboards, no sunlight inside, but for ones that are, we can sustainably use that, which is great.
Yeah, and that's the other benefit about Pycom modules is they go into ultra low power modes, and that means you're looking at 5 microns of energy use when they're in deep sleep.
So you're in Australia now, and we're in Sydney, but you're on a tour of Asia. So what are the things you're going to be achieving on this mission?
Customers, partners, hackathons, workshops.
Not sleeping.
Not sleeping at all.
That's one of the things we've lost.
Yeah.
So is the work we do every day combined with this trip?
And no doubt talking to investors as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And seeing our good chairman David, who
Well,
has recently joined us.
I wanted to ask, I mean, I recently wrote about David Stewart, known as a tech legend in Australia and globally, former communications ambassador and former CEO of Netcom, entrepreneur. So how did you meet David and convince him to become the chairman?
We met David through some of our other board members,
Obviously would have come highly recommended.
Yeah, definitely, and immediately struck up very, very good conversations. David has an incredible amount of knowledge and expertise that's very, very useful for a startup.
Well, especially in the field of, when you look at David's experience in terms of manufacturing and bringing new technology to market, it's very much what Pycom is about. And you know, David had aspirations of retirement. And,
you blew those away, right?
Absolutely.
You said, can't let that knowledge go to waste, we've got to put it to
absolutely.
put it to
Let it happen.
And so, and the other passion of David is really edge of network devices,
Yeah.
and that really blends to his forte and skill set.
Sounds like the cutting edge, the bleeding edge, right? That's the place to be,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where you guys are.
Yeah.
And CES, is that you're going this, or next year in January, is that your first time there?
We've been there before, actually. Pycom started with launching at CES with a partner in January 2016.
16.
So a couple of years ago.
So talk us through your stand as you see it.
So the stand now is very far apart from where we started. So we're over there on a small Lent space, whereas now we've got
We tend to stick out, right?
Yeah, we have a 400 square foot stand with all
big.
our products, the hardware as well as the middleware will be there. We've got some very cool demos with bikes.
The bike race.
Bike race.
Well, I'm going to be going to see us for the first time, so I look forward to seeing it. But sorry,
Well,
Fred,
we'll race you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's about also making IT relevant to your audience. And that's one of the things that when you look at these smartwatches, that's what's happened. They've managed to make it relevant to consumers to see what the benefits of IoT. So people coming on the stand, they're going to see some bikes they can race against each other. We've got some cool demos of IoT around plant sensors, etc. So trying to make it relevant to people to
bringing
see
it all
what
to life
connected
with
was.
real world examples.
Definitely.
And I'm sure you'll be getting interest from around the world.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, we're already selling to 84 countries.
Okay, that's good. I mean,
and
you're
so-
beyond the concept phase. You're
Yes,
well
we
into
are.
the
Absolutely.
selling and
very
marketing
It's
and
no longer the
upgrading.
proof of concept.
No.
Absolutely.
And how do you think, if we look in the crystal ball, how do you think all of this will evolve in a decade's time if we're here in 2027 talking about CES 2028?
That's one of my favourite questions, actually. I would really love to see a proliferation of our technology to millions of devices that enable our community to share. So rather than just having standalone application development and application use, our users can leverage each other's applications to further their own objectives around connecting and using data from the various sensors that are getting installed around the world.
Even though we're all using PCs and Macs, we've been talking about a post-PC world, so we might be in a post-IoT world by then. You guys will be on the next level. But we've still got 10 years to get there. So we can dream all we want. The Fred or Daniel? Any thoughts?
I think we'll see a lot more software-defined radio technology, and I think Pycon will be playing a big role in that because everything we do around multi-network modules is the start of that process, and making things a lot smaller because.
IoT inside of me,
absolutely.
Which might be scary, might be cool. I don't know.
Every year we should halve the size of the modules.
Yeah.
That should be the goal, because the number of applications will become even more, endless.
I think we will see lots of wearables, but at a much higher level than we see now.
Swallowables, that's cool. Very cool.
And so, as we get towards the end of the interview, I always like to ask if you can please share some of the best advice that you've received to help you get where you are today.
Wow. So one of the things I don't do pretty well is always listen to everybody, and that's good and bad.
CEO can make the captain's pick, but sometimes you got to listen to the team.
You've got and you've got to have that blend, and so sometimes you have to have the conviction of your ideas. Because when I look at 2.5 years ago, when we had the concept of Pycom, a lot of people were saying, why do you guys want to do multi-network modules? You're adding costs, and thank God we did, because everybody now is doing multi-network modules, so that's one.
I have a broader one I've read somewhere, which is if you have a goal and you don't seem to be able to get there with the existing process or route, change the process, or the route, don't change the goal. Because if you believe in it, you'll definitely get there if you don't give up.
Yeah.
That's my,
For me, one that I received not so long ago is that never make assumptions. Always have all the facts before making a decision.
Well, there's that famous saying: if you assume it makes an ass out of you
Yes.
and me.
Absolutely.
You used that actually an hour ago in one of our meetings.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So, do you have any final messages for IT Wire viewers and readers, and for your current and future customers?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess Pycom is available around the world. So whilst we're on tour, it doesn't stop here. We are appointing a lot of partners out here in Australia and New Zealand, and the technology is very widely available. So if anyone's interested in using it, of course there's us as a team. There's a very active forum on forum.pycom.io, and I think it's actually one of the most active IoT forums out there in the world. We've got 120,000 users there already. So. And often our own support teams can't get there quick enough to answer questions. The forum is kind of self-healing and very active
themselves, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, real
That's
life.
the purpose of forum.
Yeah, and I would say we're only too happy to come back here.
Yeah.
So any more hackathons or events, we'll be here.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
We love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Daniel? Oh, actually, any last messages from you?
Well, that we're here to support customers, and anything they need, we're more than willing to help.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Fred, Bettina and Daniel, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck
Thank
with
you.
the rest of the Asian tour, and look
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing you at CES in 2018.
Us too.
Fantastic.
Thank you very
See you
much.
then.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.